Update 8.1 for World of Tanks Blitz brought quite a few changes into the battlefield. However, most of the changes were down at Tier 7. A lot of the medium tanks got buffed, vehicles like the T26E3 Eagle 7, and then we had the T20, and then for heavy tanks we had the AMX M445, but what we didn't see was really any big changes to Tier 10. There was only one vehicle that got buffed, and that was the FV217 Badger, which I full-heartedly agree with, but we really didn't see any other balance changes, buffs, or nerfs. Well, that is going to be changing for Update 8.2. Wargaming just finished their live stream where they talked about all the changes. And oh mama, we are going to be breaking into the nerfs on a lot of these super strong Tier 10 heavy tanks that are going to be coming. As well, buffs on vehicles like the WZ-113 GFT, the T10E4. There is a boatload of changes, balances, and reworks, and in today's video, hopefully, you are going to be learning just exactly what to expect in Update 8.2 for World of Tanks Blitz. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, you learned something new, and you want to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below, as it helps out the channel a crazy amount. So, the first thing is that Tier 10 heavy tanks, as I said before, are going to be nerfed, and some of them are going to be hit a little bit harder than others, starting off with the mouse. Now, the mouse is boasting in hit points and armor, and a boatload of hit points at that 3,180. However, in the next update, it's going to lose 150 hit points and as well get a Dispersion Nerf. Now, I don't know exactly what the Dispersion is going to be put at, but it's going to be worse. And judging that the mouse already doesn't have amazing dispersion, yeah, I'm not looking forward to that at all. I'm hoping that it's just like maybe to 0.35, but I really think that the mouse is quite a balanced vehicle. It really only performs super well if you know how to run it. It doesn't have that much damage per minute. The penetration is okay, and sure, it does have a huge ton of hit point pool, but at the same time, it's extremely easy to just rip apart if you know how to take them out. So, yeah, I actually think that the hit points is fine, but Dispersion Nerf, I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out. I'll have to test the vehicle when it is in its full released form. The Krandong and as well the IS-4 are also going to be losing another 150 hit points. Now the Kron does have a pretty hefty hit point pool. As you can see here, it's sitting at 2,800, but after it loses 150, it's probably going to actually be around 200 because of course improved assembly adds 6% hit points, but the less hit points you have, the less it's going to add on percentage. So yeah, the Kron's probably going to go around to 2,600 hit points now, which is going to make it more in line with the other Tier 10 heavy tanks, at least for hit point pool. Same for the IS-4. Is it going to change these vehicles much? I really don't think so. As well, the turret traverse speed is going to be worse. I don't think it's going to be much worse, so personally, I really don't think the Kron or the IS-4 are going to hurt too much from this, as they're still great with their armor. And the Kron is fantastic when it's hull down. So, yeah, I'm not really worried about the Kron being ruined, and any of you Kron or IS-4 fans out there, don't really expect too much out of this nerf. It's probably not going to be too big of a deal for the vehicle, and you'll be able to do basically what you were able to before Update 8.2. The E5, however, is going to be getting a reload nerf and a slower turret traverse speed. That's what I'm aware, and what I at least heard, it was going to be about a 1 second worse reload, so it's not going to be terrible, but you're probably going to be losing about 200 damage per minute on the vehicle, which is going to put it more similarly in line to vehicles like the IS-4 and the IS-7 on damage per minute, and a little bit away from, you know, some of the other super high DPM heavy tanks, because the E5 does boast pretty good DPM, 2,600, and that's of course with me running calibrated. If you're running rammer at 2,800, so yeah, it's probably going to be about 2,400 after the nerf. As well, the FV215B, a vehicle I was very surprised at first to see, is also going to be getting a reload nerf. Now, I don't agree with the reload nerf. The FV215B has basically had the exact same gun ever since it was released. It's so good on the gun. It's just great. It's got one of the most accurate guns for a Tier 10 heavy tank. It's had great damage per minute. Now, I also think it's about a 1 second nerf, so it's not going to be terrible, but you're probably, again, going to lose 200, 300 damage per minute. But overall, I don't think it's going to hurt the vehicle too much. I just don't get why they didn't get rid of the consumables. These are the things that make the vehicle so strong. The improved engine power boost and as well reactive armor. It's not the DPM. So if you really wanted to change this vehicle, just remove reactive armor or speed boost altogether, and it would probably be a lot more balanced in my personal opinion. Now the WZ-113 GFT, the Tier 10 Chinese tank destroyer, the least played vehicle in Tier 10, will be receiving a big old buff. The armor is going to be buffed frontally. Now I'm not exactly sure where, because Wargaming didn't specify, but it will be getting buffed. It's going to have less gun arc bloom. For a second I was reading it, I was like, wait, what? It's going to have less gun arc. But yes, less gun arc bloom. So what that means is your on-movement dispersion of the gun is going to be much, much better. And as well, it's going to have, once again, improved mobility. This vehicle has been buffed a couple times already, and I'm actually very excited to see what its fully, buff state, what this vehicle is going to be like after update 8.2, because I don't think it's actually a bad vehicle right now. I know I've made videos on it talking about it being pretty good, so I can't wait to see what Wargaming has in stock for this vehicle and making it just that little bit stronger. Now the T10E4 as well is going to be getting a frontal armor buff on the cheeks of the turret, so that's something that's very nice. As the E4 does struggle quite a bit on those cheeks, you can pretty easily penetrate them as long as your premium has about 300 plus millimeters. Not only is the E4 going to be getting a frontal armor buff there, but the turret traverse speed and as well its better blooming. So what I mean by that, it's just kind of like the WZ-113 GFT, where when you turn the gun on that tank, it's going to be a lot better, and the tank, this one is exactly the same. When you turn the vehicle and the turret, it's going to be a lot more accurate, and as well, it's going to have better turret traverse, as I said. So overall, I think that this is going to help out the vehicle massively. Now, the biggest weak spot that I think that Wargaming could easily remove, and that would honestly make this tank very well balanced without touching anything else, is just scrape off the cupola. I honestly think that if they just took that off, made it like the E5 weak spot, it would be such a strong tank. It wouldn't be overpowered. I think it would just be good enough to do its role as kind of a pseudo tank destroyer heavy tank. But that's my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. The Object 263, a vehicle I really didn't expect to see any changes coming towards ever, is also going to be receiving a buff slash nerf. It's kind of a rebalancing, should I say. The frontal armor is going to be getting a buff. Now, I'm hoping that that's the lower plate, and as well, maybe the side armor a bit. The upper plate doesn't really need one, and the mantlet. Oh, wow, yeah, the mantlet's really, really weak. So maybe that mantlet, that would be something that I'd love to see buffed. The tank is also going to have more hit points, better traverse speed, but it's going to have a dispersion nerf. So they're making it less accurate, which honestly is fine with me because it's quite an accurate vehicle, as you can see. And that's, by the way, with nothing on it. Like, I'm not running refined gun. It's just an incredibly accurate gun. So even if they made the dispersion like 0.308 or 0.318, something not as good, I think that the buffs from the armor and everything else like that is going to make it a much stronger vehicle because it's not a campy tank destroyer. It's more of a frontline, pseudo midline vehicle. So very excited as well to see one of my favorite tank destroyers being buffed. The FE4005 is going to be getting a mag reload buff, so what that means is it's just going to be a little bit quicker on the reloading. The FE4202 will now go 60 kilometers per hour. Now, I don't know exactly how fast it went before. I thought it was like 52 kilometers per hour. I could be wrong on that, but I think it was around 52. How fast? 50. Yeah, that's actually a big buff. So it's going to go 60 kilometers per hour, and the Centurion 7.1, which goes 40, is now going to go 50. So they're just kind of adding on 10 to both of these vehicles. That's going to be great. This tank is now going to be able to act more like a medium tank, be able to reposition, use that hash so much more cleanly. And yeah, you bet that I'm going to be pulling this vehicle out quite a bit more to see just exactly what I can do. The E50M is going to be getting improved terrain resistance and a slight reload buff. Now, slight to me is like maybe a second better, maybe not even half a second. So I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be, but that's what I have written down here. And finally, we have the M48 Patton and the M60 are going to be getting a pen buff and as well a reload buff. So yeah, a lot of changes are going to be coming into World of Tanks Blitz for update 8.2. And finally, the Super Engine Speed Boost consumable is going to be nerfed just a little bit. Slower traverse speed and acceleration. Now, I'm not sure by how much that's going to be nerfed, as, again, this is just kind of coming out right now. But, yeah, thought I'd tell you guys everything I personally know right now about the updates and everything else coming into update 8.2 for World of Tanks Blitz. If you'd like to see more like this and me to keep you updated on the newest information, as I said before, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. But other than that, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.